if you feel it.
Good evening. I hereby call this regular meeting of Nacogdoches ISD Board of Trustees to order. Let the record show that a quorum is present and a notice of this meeting was posted according and required as Texas Open Meeting Act. Board member Kelly Pitcock would be arriving soon. Thank you for joining us tonight, and I ask to please turn your cell phone to the silent motion. And first order of business would be executive session meeting. Time is 5:01.
You have to read the numbers.
You don't have to read all
You have to read all those
You have to
numbers.
read the numbers.
You don't have them now. You're in a hurry.
The board will now conduct executive closed session to discuss items posted on our agenda pursuant to the following provision of Texas Open Meeting Act and as required by Texas Government Code Section 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, 551.087, and 551.129. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as the result of discussions in closed session will take place after the board convenes into open session. Time is now 5:02.
so.
Now we can.
There you go. Good evening, everyone. The board is now reconvening into open session, and time is 6 o'clock. At this time, I ask Dr. Groman to give tonight's invocation, please.
I'd like to thank all the McDragons that are here, the teachers and the leaders, and y'all can bow your heads and we'll pray. Heavenly Father, Prince of Peace, mighty counselor, we need your help, each one of us. Walk with us, give us peace, and let us understand that you are the light of the world. And amen.
Thank you, sir. At this time, pledges to the flags. Principal of McMichael Middle School, Mr. Gerald Fonzie, and his students would leading us to the pledges to the flags. Mr. Fonzie, thank you.
Good evening, President Nirman, board members, Superintendent Trio. Tonight, we have some members of our student council and their sponsors. They're going to lead us in the pledge, so at this time, I'm going to call them up to the front. And don't be shy, pretend it's the hallways. I'm going to let them introduce themselves and if they hold a position in office or not.
My name's Sarah Drury, and I'm one of the co-sponsors of the Student Council this year. We did just choose our council, so we're about a week and a half old, so this is very new to us. And I teach 6th grade math.
Hello, I'm Sienna Soto, and I'm a 6th grade representative.
Hello, my name is Lori Serna, and I'm a 7th grade representative.
Hello, my name is Benjamin Serna Villanueva, and I'm a 6th grade representative.
Hello, my name is Liliana Butler, and I am a 7th grade representative.
Hello everybody, my name is Mr. Pedro Tovar and I teach the ESL newcomers and I'm also the Student Council's co-sponsor for this year.
Great, thank you all.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you all, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Fonzie. And
Right here, guys, right there. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
thank you, everyone.
Thank y'all.
Okay. Thank you, parents, for bringing the students. At this time, we have superintendent reports and announcements.
President Rashid and board and community, just a couple of announcements to give out. Nixon Long, a senior at Nacogdoches High School, set a school record earlier this month at the District 10 5A cross-country meet. Nixon completed the 3.1-mile course in 16 minutes and 8 seconds, bettering his own record set previously this season. Nixon's time in the race was good by 8 seconds over the second-place finisher and earned a berth into the Class 5A Region 11 meet held Tuesday in Grand Prairie. Great job, Nixon. The Golden Dragon Marching Band earned straight ones on Saturday at the Region 21 contest in Longview. That continues the band's outstanding streak of perfect performance of regionals. The NHS band has posted perfect scores at the regional contest every year since 1980. That's 44 years. It would be easy to say that the marching band's performance is automatic, but that's not the case. It requires so much work. They begin in July in that hot asphalt behind the football stadium, both on the music and the marching itself. Congratulations to Director Jacob Weems and his assistants, as well as the band members themselves. And on Wednesday, I will be joining them, and a lot of our parents and band boosters will be there in Waco to see them perform at the state military marching band contest at McLean Stadium. I don't want to neglect the middle school band. They prepared those kids very well to get them there, so we want to share our appreciation for our middle school as well, band directors. Justin Phillips. Congratulations to Justin Phillips, a Nacogdoches High School senior. He is the 2025 National Merit Scholar semifinalist, placing him among the top students in the country. The 16,000 semifinalists nationwide, coast to coast, come from roughly 1.3 million U.S. high school students who took the preliminary SAT and National Merit Scholarship qualifying test in 2023 and met other program participations requirements. Over the course of his high school career, Justin has earned numerous accolades, including the distinction of AP Scholar, Rural and Small Town Scholar, and First Generation Scholar. He's also the state champion for the academic UIL. So congratulations go to Justin Phillips. On Saturday, last weekend, many of you were on hand at the unveiling of the dedication of the statue of E.J. Campbell next to the T.J. Rusk Elementary campus by the Friends of Historic Nacogdoches Incorporated. The statue joins a group of historic statues walk between the downtown and Stephen F. Austin University. First, thanks so much to the Friends of Historic Nacogdoches for honoring E.J. Campbell, this is the namesake of this building, in memory and contribution to the education. Mr. Campbell, he was known by his contemporaries as a professor, established high expectations for black students and his staff, and the district still benefits today from his work and influence. I was inspired by the E.J. Campbell alumni on hand Saturday and their words and memories of going to the schools named for Mr. Campbell. They take such pride in E.J. Campbell High School, and those memories clearly mean so much to our community. I will tell you, when the sun sets, or if you're able to, drive by the statue and you'll see it in its grand with the lighting that they have on it. It's a beautiful sight that's there. Also, I want to mention that Miss Jody Franks, my heart goes out to her and her family. She taught at two Nacogdoches ISD campuses and was named a Campus and District Teacher of the Year. Died following an extended illness. Her service is at 3 p.m. this coming Saturday, October 26th at Austin Heights Baptist Church here in Nacogdoches. Ms. Franks was an outstanding teacher who worked so hard to connect with and influence her students. She created an atmosphere in her classroom where students felt comfortable and safe and wanted to thrive. And she was a fierce advocate on behalf, no doubt, of every NISD student. And she will be missed, her influence and talent and ability, but the district is so much better for the time that she spent here. And I might add to this, Mr. Weinberger and myself had some conversations about this young lady, and I'm going to tell you, we don't know the half of it of her public service that went around the world, and she landed here in Nacogdoches. So tremendous lady, and we were blessed to have her with us. Our chief, is our chief around here somewhere? There he is. I'm used to seeing him in uniform, full-fledged, and he's wearing blue today. So, Chief, you want to come up, and we want to recognize some work that he's been doing. It's been going nonstop, and he's got some great news to share with the board and with the community.
Good evening, President Nearmont, board members, Superintendent Trujillo. This is kind of a big deal for me because this is the final two officers I needed to hire. And Officer Peterson here is historic because it's the first officer that the Nacogdoches ISD Police Department actually sponsored with great appreciation to the Nacogdoches Law Enforcement Foundation.
Awesome.
I'll go ahead and let them introduce themselves.
I don't think he needs any introduction.
My name's Lou Peterson, from Nacogdoches. I'm a veteran, married with 2 daughters. I was a salesman at R&K Distributors for 20 years and just came calling. I graduated at the Police Academy last Friday, so,
And you're taking your father's place.
yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Doug Reed. I'm 55 years old. I'm originally from Lufkin, graduated from there. And I was a police officer with Nacogdoches Police Department for 20 years. I was a sergeant when I finally retired, end of August. And I've just started with NISD Police October 1st. And I worked for his dad for quite a while.
My name is Corey Kaler. I'm the president of the Nacogdoches Law Enforcement Foundation. We're just a group of civilian volunteers who want to show our love and support for all law enforcement in Nacogdoches County, the PD, the SO, SFA PD, NISD PD as well. And we help with things like equipment, training, benevolence is a big one, and community outreach. And it just seemed like the timing on this was perfect. Around February, March, we received a very large community grant from the Charles and Lois Murray Bright Foundation. And about that time, received a phone call from one of the board members, and I got a little nervous, after receiving a large donation from them. And they said, "Hey, I want to talk to you about something." And I said, "Well, what you got?" And they said, "Well, we see there's a need for more officers in Nacogdoches County to keep our kids safe and to keep our community safe. Is there anything that we can do to help that?" And so it planted a seed in the back of my head, but it wasn't but 2 weeks later, Chief and I were talking, and he said, "Hey, could y'all maybe help out? I know a guy." And I said, "Oh, really? Tell me about him." And he was telling me about Luke Peterson and everything that he's been able to accomplish and whatnot. And the more we talked about it, and the more we looked into it and talked to some other officers, and they said, "You know who that is?" I said, no, sir, no, ma'am, I don't know who that is." And they said, "Let me tell you about Paul Peterson. He's started at the PD in 1989 and retired in 2014 as a lieutenant and one of the most well-respected officers that ever served this county." And I said, "You got to be kidding me." And I said, "Okay, so we're going to make this happen." So we partnered with the Charles and Lois Murray Bright Foundation and provided a scholarship for Luke to go to the Kilgore Police Academy. And so we couldn't be more delighted to be a part of that and to bring an awesome person to serve and protect our kids. So we just want to say congratulations to him, and also want to add that ever since Chief Martin took office as chief of the police department, I've been nothing but amazed. He's been very open with us and very communicative, and his heart's in the right place. And I know he's very new, but he's in it for the right reasons. And part of what we do is we try to support as much as we can, and just kudos to him. He's doing one heck of a job. So
thank you. Thank you so much. Now, Chief, we talked about it. You're going to probably bring and have your force here in November.
Correct,
board
yeah.
meeting, so that the board can recognize our complete force.
The November meeting, I'm going to have the entire department here.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Mr. Peterson, give my regards to your brother and your mom.
Yes, sir.
President Fashid and board, that's my report. Thank you so much.
Okay, that's good news. Tonight, we have 3 reports, starting with bilingual program annual yearly evaluations. Dr. Salcedo.
Public comments?
We missed public comment. Oh, do we have public comment?
I announce public comment. At this time, we have public comment. No one has signed up for public comment. However, those who are interested to make comments in the public comment, the instructions of how to sign up is included of a meeting notice. Thank you. Dr. Salcedo, thank you.
Good evening, President Yerman, board members, and Superintendent Dr. Trujillo. It is my pleasure to present to you my annual bilingual report. My name is Evelyn Salceda, and today is going to be a short agenda. I have to present to you the academic progress of our emerging bilingual students, but also the extent on how much English they have learned throughout this year. I need to show to you the number of students who have been exited in our bilingual program, because that's something, and when I mean exited is because they have not only achieved the academic performance they need, but also their linguistic goals that they have. Also the professional development that we do every year to support not only our students, but also our teachers, and then the bilingual waivers and exceptions that we have. We have to do this, and everything we do in our program is based under federal and state law, under Chapter 81 and the Every Student Success Act. This slide shows the variety of students that we serve. In every group, even though all of them are emerging bilinguals, they have very unique linguistic and academic needs. Some of them just come straight from their country, some of them have academic backgrounds, some don't. But based on those academic and linguistic needs, they also have very different cultural and socioeconomic needs that we have to take care of. This slide shows just the variety of languages that we have. I want to point out what it says other languages, which has a 20. And what that represents is some languages that are actually not coded in our program, but we have recently have a number of students who speak Haitian Creole or just different dialects. So that's what it is. So we not only have just common languages, but we also care for the academic and linguistic performance of students who speak just different dialects and even multiple languages. That page shows the numbers from at the end of last year. But what I want to show you here are the pretty much the definitions of the different students that we have. Once again, emerging bilinguals, those can be migrant students who have parents who actually migrate from different places due to work. We also have immigrant students who TEA has a special classification because those are students that had been in the U.S. for less than 3 years, but they were born outside the U.S. Within that category, we also have newcomer students who also have been in the country less than 3 years, but they might be born in the U.S. And this is something interesting that happened here in Nacogdoches for some reason, that we have many students that are born in the country, but then they leave and then they come back. We also have the monitor students, who are the students that exit our program, but we still have to keep up with their academic and linguistic performance and the reclassified students. I really like this graph because it shows the progression of the numbers that we have. And a lot of the times it's not that we're decreasing numbers, but every time we also have all those students that actually graduated, so that's what you tend to see. But if you see in the last table, we actually have a huge celebration from last year where you see the reclassified students. Last year I came to you and I was very embarrassed to say that we only have 6 students, but last year we have 135. And this is thanks to the efforts of campuses and youth specialists that were taken seriously to make sure that we exit as many students as we can. That means that those students who exited not only achieve their academic performance, but also their linguistic goals that they set up for them. In this slide, we have the exemptions and ESL waivers for this year. I would like to remind you that this is every time that we have a student in a classroom where the teacher is not ESL or bilingual certified, we have to report it to TEA. At the same time, we have to make a lot of efforts to ensure that if that teacher is not certified, that we are providing the supports that the students need. But we have to report. So the bilingual exceptions are teachers who are not bilingual certified yet. So it shows the numbers by campus. And the other side, we have the ESL waivers, and those are teachers who are not ESL certified who are teaching English language arts in the different campuses. This graph shows the progression of our dual language classroom. We are really happy and excited that Mike Moses Elementary and Thomas Tree Ross have already a progression all the way to 5th grade. We're working with Bruce Quinn Jones to kind of close those gaps and be able to have dual language all the way to 5th grade. We are really thankful for the board and the administration to allow us to have a great team that supports the students and the teachers, but also that this year we're taking seriously to be at the forefront in helping students and having groups and making sure that they're successful. Obviously, one of the major things that they have to do is compliance, which is the Language Proficiency Assessment Committee. And the reason that I have to put that is that we are a department, but we work so close with teaching and learning in every single other department, because at the end of the day is student performance. So when we look at accountability, we have to do our part, which is TOPAS. But as you can see, when all our students have their academic objectives, we have to make sure that we also work with teachers and students so they understand their language objectives, because they go hand to hand. Some of the things that we also work with them is just to make sure that they actually progress in those different areas. They're listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And we have, most of our professional development is shelter instruction, which pretty much teaches our teachers how to support those students in the different areas. This slide has very small numbers, but I believe that you have those in front of you. In this graph, we always have to make sure that we not only look at the progress that our bilingual students are having every year, but also compare to how our bilingual students are doing with other students. And the reason is that we understand that our students not only have that linguistic barrier, but also they might have less cultural opportunities when compared to students that were born in the U.S. Just as you see, we definitely see a decrease this year in different areas. And one of the things that we keep thinking about in the team, that obviously the test was different, but understanding that I'm going to say the majority of our students do not have access to computers at home. I mean, that was, I think that was a major hit because our students were not used to. Many students, they have access to computers or even just playing the keyboards or even electronics, but many other students, they do not. So I strongly believe that that has a strong influence on our scores. However, I'm really excited about this year because we are strongly working together like no other year with all the departments, with all the campuses, with all the principals to make sure that we are not catering to their needs based on what we think they need, but from whatever they think that we can help them. I mean, we want to make sure that they are the ones telling us how can we support you instead of me saying this is what I'm going to provide. This is the TOPAS overall in the district by grade level. The blue represents the students who are in the beginning stage based on TOPAS. The red intermediate, yellow advanced, and green advanced high. We pay a strong focus on all those students who are in green right now, or actually were in green last year, because those are the ones that are very close to exiting our bilingual program. So all our EO specialists at every campus meet with every single one of our kids. We show them their scores from last year. They set new goals for this year, but we tell them how important it is. At the same time, we meet with the teachers to make sure that not only they're meeting their goals linguistically, but also academically. Once again, those are the efforts that I already talked to you about as the things that we do to help them. We have boot camps, we have different trainings to support the teachers, but most importantly, those student language goals conferences, I think that has made major differences. That's why you see bigger numbers in our exiting from last year to this year. Once again, shelter instruction strategies that is required, especially for those classrooms who have waivers and exceptions. And once again, I already talked to you about the supports that we like to provide to principals and teachers whenever they need them. Parent-family engagement is part of our efforts. We had the Parent Resource Fair at the beginning of the school year, and we were very thankful for the opportunity because many families had the opportunity to get identifications, but not only that, while they were waiting, we presented, I believe, more than 30 sessions, and we have more than 100 people attending during that week, so thank you for the opportunity. At the end of the year, we will have the Cultural Festival at my Microm, and we're really excited about that. And I'm going to finish with reminding all ourselves and even myself that this is a journey because we can get our students from, starting born in the U.S., but they're in pre-K. We also have all the students who are from different countries, speak different languages, and we try to recognize and celebrate their language and their culture. We also try to provide them with different opportunities so they can feel included. And that might means that many of them, they arrive to us, very shy. And you know the story with that student right there who is kind of putting her finger in her mouth. She's super shy. She don't want to speak. But yet again, this is the student who won the national level for her writing in English in her first year in the U.S. So there's potential in our students, and we try to see that potential in every single one of them. Because we're here for students, and student achievement is number one. Once again, we're so thankful for our bilingual staff and teachers because they are the ones that actually make everything possible. And at the end, this is what we want to see. Thank you very much, and that's the team. Do you have any questions?
I have a question. Every Monday, Dr. Trujillo texts us sort of a report of the different departments and what they've done during the week or whatever in the district. And this last week, there was a mention of something called Mirror.
Yes.
Would you explain that? It looked fascinating.
It is fascinating. That is a new device that would allow for automatic translation for any meetings that can occur. Let's say that I can bring that device here, and any parent who do not speak English can actually read everything we say. It's a new thing that we were able to have, but that will help not only for that capacity, but I can think that, for example, our meetings when they don't have a staff, or if a student, immigrant student who, the teacher is explaining the lesson, even though we provide them with iPads, the potential of having the student being able to read the lesson as the teacher is speaking at the same time, is huge. Not only that, that would allow students to be able to practice their linguistic abilities, because many times that's one of the hardest things for students at the beginning stage of learning a second language, but also at the end, because we ask them to speak in complete sentences. But that has AI integrated in there, so the teacher can put a question and put the names of the students, and then they can say, like, Juanito, come over here, go, as like an exit ticket. So they can go and click on their name, and the AI bubble thing or can say the question, and the student speaks to the thing, and it records for them. So then the teacher can actually have a recording of every single student, but also a report of their vocabulary. And the kids are more, I'm going to say, fascinated by that, so they're more willing to speak to the swivel than the teacher. So it has a lot of potential. I'm really excited. Thank you for noticing that.
What caught my interest was when we have teachers who are bilingual, it's usually English and Spanish. I mean, there's some, maybe French, maybe German, but not some of these other more Eastern languages that we do have students from.
Yes.
And how fortunate when you need to meet with the parents and explain things, this is going to help facilitate that. That's very exciting.
Yes, we're thankful for the resources that we get to have.
Dr. Salceda, it was a well-presented report, and we appreciate that. But to summarize it for people that are online, you basically are taking care of instructing and changing lives of approximately one out of every 4 students, more or less. Could be.
That's correct.
Right. So you have a very large scale of students, and they're all at a different place, and they're all competing against themselves to get better.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Y'all do a wonderful job.
That's why I have to be like this with all my partner coordinators and directors and teaching and learning in every single other department, because this is a unified effort.
Dr. Salcedo, I'm a former coach, so normally my conversation is very short. So I want to thank you the way you do things and the way you treat those people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay. Next item is a construction update. Mr. Michael Martin, Deputy Superintendent.
Good evening, President Numan, members of the board, Dr. Trujillo. While we wait on this presentation to come up, I asked my partner here, Ralph, to come up and join me. I don't see our other partners, Mr. Ormy Curtis and Cindy Burke. Cindy? They could not be with us tonight. So Ralph and I are going to try to wing it. It's okay with you guys. Thank you, Mr. Lombarger. Well, again, it's a privilege to be here standing before you tonight to give you an update on our construction projects. We'll begin with the Nacogdoches ISD Training and Conference Center. If you'll recall, back in March, this is what our land over there looked like that we purchased up there off Klein Drive. This area over here that we see on this picture is going to be a parking lot. You can see this area they were tearing out over there, getting ready to get some concrete poured. This is the building or the facility next to our existing building where they're going to build. We probably saw this dirt turn 5 to 10 times because if you recall, when we began this project in the earlier this year, we were getting a lot of rain, a lot of rain. And so I know that these construction guys, and Ralph can tell you a little bit more than I can, but I know that they were having a lot of problems trying to get all this stuff situated where they could get us a foundation poured. And it wasn't until just about a month ago that they got that foundation poured. But they worked around the clock on some weekends trying to get this facility up and going for us. And we are super excited. This is April, the shot of that same area. Concrete, finally. Some concrete was poured, like I said, about a month ago. A lot of dirt work on this site.
The wet spring put us behind. We're about 33 days behind. There's no way around it. The rain actually washed out one of those footers. It cut underneath it, and the footer shifted, so we had to tear the footer out and start over. It's been a little frustrating, but this is a picture of the storage lines, water lines, all that stuff that's underground.
Mr. LaRue, I want to make sure the board knows this is your eyes being out there has been immeasurable. Not to say that people don't like to cut corners, but if we didn't have our own eyes out there, there's things that we would not know. And we've had conversations where they haven't been very pleased with conversations with you because you've caught something, and just, they're aware of it, but you just they want to make sure that you know that we know that they know that you know.
Well, the work, all work is critical, but certainly the foundation is very critical. This is not a very exciting picture, but our retention pond, you don't hardly see it as you drive in and out Klein Drive, but it's oversized, so we're in good shape, and we'll capture the water and slow it down. This is actually the back of the building, where there's going to be a ramp and a service dock so people can load in and out. And just lots and lots of rebar tying all those footers together. And this is where it's going to tie up against the existing building. That's the footer that got undercut. There's board pad, 12,000 square feet. 26 truckloads of cement. That's the parking lot across the way that's ready to be poured. That's a shot of the actual training room, boardroom. All those yellow spots you see, and there's several things you can't see, are all tied to electric and AV and all that stuff that had to be run under the slab. So there's a mile of pipe underneath that slab going back to the control room, so that when you're setting in a training, there's going to be an outlet nearby. We won't have to have extension cords running all over the room, but a lot to prep for. It's a vapor barrier that we put down underneath the building these days for its protection. Underneath that, we put down termite control. Just another shot of the porch slab. Aerial view of the road being cut in. It was kind of a trail that went around the back of the building. Now it's going to be a roadway, an exit road. We actually are going to pour that tomorrow morning. Gives you a little feel for the scale. The white lines are right after you pour. Within 8 hours of the pour, you come back behind and cut a line into the concrete. So when it cures in this Texas heat, it kind of cures too quick, and it gives it some place to crack if it's going to crack a little bit. That's the new parking lot and the upper parking lot. The new parking lot, the big one, is now already beginning to fill up with materials for construction. The main lot will be used as a layoff area for all the different contractors. That wraps up that project. We move into Nettie Marshall. It's turned out to be a great conversion. I think they're very happy. It's just the classroom, the open classroom concept's really turned out nice. In the cafeteria, it makes a great training center for them. It just was a great project, great reuse. Student Support Services, soon to be the data center or technology's new home, is moving along very well. We're waiting on furniture, and the inside of the building will be done. It's been changed from single-phase electric to three-phase electric. The server racks are in place. The UPS is in place. That's a device that filters the electricity. It's all on a raised floor in a new server room with new air conditioners. The old garage was turned into a nice workshop for technology. Plant services. Much needed renovation. I don't think the building has seen any attention since we took it over from the Department of Transportation many years ago. That building it got new roofs, new flooring, and most importantly, parking lots. It was hard to drive through the parking lot due to all the potholes. And I'm trying to get my focus there. We're too far. That's just another picture of the plant services. We built a couple new sheds. So all of our equipment can now be out of the weather and protected.
So now we're looking at projects for possibly the future, and we just listed a few on here. Some of these on the 24-25 side have either begun or we have even finished them as well. And then you see future projects and then some waterproofing projects over there. We'd like to come back and, just like we did TJR and we're currently doing Nacogdoches High School, Regay, Fredonia, Mike Moses, and Brooks Quinn Jones will also need this in the future. Now we're going to go to the budget portion of our presentation, and we'll turn it over to Mr. Ben Everly.
Yeah, so we'll be kind of quick here, because some of these projects that were mentioned kind of span between bond projects, capital funds projects, maybe some grant projects that were on the future projects screen. And what we have here is just our bond projects solely, so it's not going to encompass some of the things that we've seen, but it will some other things. So this first slide is just our completed projects and kind of how we have come out as far as budgeted versus actual spending as of yesterday, and our savings deficit there. It's going to be similar to, we finished a lot of projects since we've had our last construction update, but we kept some of the old notes, especially the wonderful ESSER grant covering all the HVAC units, so savings on that. And if we'll go to the next page, we'll have just the projects that we are in process of, and really, it's just completing the press box. I think we only have some architect fees maybe that's left on that, but the project itself is completed, but there's still some outstanding costs there. And the DSC Training Center are really the only two projects as far as bond goes that we have left to complete. So that's about all.
Mr. Martin, any projection what the construction will be finalized at DAC?
Yes, sir, Coach Normand. We talked to Army today, Army Curtis today, and he's projecting that we will be done by next summer with the District Support Center.
Okay.
Professional development.
Soon we're going to be in a raining season. Are they going to be handicapping us, or the things that need to be taken care of before rain, is it in place?
I think we'll be working indoors by then. It'll.
Yes, we hope to be indoors, but I'm not going to dance around it. It depends on the magnitude of the storms. This spring, we got 5 to 9 inches of rain in 4 hours, and with flooding all over town and across the county. The contractor cannot prepare for that and work on the site at the same time.
Right.
If he buttons it down that tight and it covers everything good enough that it's not going to get washed away under those conditions, he's not going to be able to work on the site. So
I guess what I'm trying to ask, are we in a position in case rain causes more damage than we expected, or we are going to be to some extent safe?
Oh, we're safe.
Ralph, you might mention some of the things that were not in place, that are now in place. For instance, when we shut down the entryway coming off on the backside, that was for a purpose, for drainage, and we currently have Klein Road shut down for another purpose. And those two purposes alone is going to help us stay fairly dry if it works the way it's designed. Can you speak to that a little bit on that?
Yeah, the water, part of the, we're downhill from several doctor's offices, and water goes downhill. We can't change that. But we have diverted, we're hoping 50 to 60% of that water coming from the doctor's offices under with the new culvert under the road, and back into the property we got behind the new parking lots. So we're hoping that dramatically reduces the impact of the downhill water. And in addition to that, the new roadway that's going around the back of the building is going to serve as a chute, more or less, for any other water, and carry it down behind the new building to a capture basin, the new basin, and that's what Klein Drive is closed for right now, is we're putting in the storm drains to catch that water. So we feel like we've addressed it, but we just have to see how the storms treat us.
That the water reservoir that we have, does it be completely drained, dries, or it still holds the water?
It'll completely drain.
Complete. Can we make it to stay somewhere? We're in the summer times? Go fishing?
No, can't stock it, I'm sorry.
I have two questions. So it was about the drain. The drain is about 2 foot big, the black tube, and it's running under the road that circles around, and then it runs all the way and drains directly into the creek. Is that right?
Correct.
But it's about that big, so it'll hold a lot of water.
It holds a lot of water, but the size of the pipe that's exiting is your regulator. That's why there's a pond. So it only lets out so much water, so we're not flooding people downstream. And it'll back up in the pond and continue.
Good neighbors.
Yes, we are being good neighbors. It's also code.
Well.
Following the rules also.
I have another question. There's too many things to mention, but I think it's important that people understand that at NETI and that remodeling, we not only modified a couple of classrooms, but we put everything in there so there could be pedagogy for new teachers who had never taught. They can come in there and practice and be taught how to teach. So I thought that's something, if you want to add something to that so that people will know, wow, that's pretty avant-garde. I think we're ahead of things with that.
But that side of this program that I'm not on. It's the teachers, and I'm going to let the teachers teach. I'm not qualified to talk about that.
But we do have at least we got 2 or 3 classrooms.
Yes.
And it's fully furnished.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is the TASA and TASB Conference Delegate Assembly Report. Ms. Mindy Winslow, presenter.
Take all the time you need.
First, I just wanted to thank you guys for allowing me to represent NISD at this assembly. It is an honor to do that. The TASB's Delegate Assembly is a once-a-year opportunity for Texas school boards to have a voice in the overall direction of that organization. Simply put, it is the annual membership meeting where we vote on critical issues to TASB, such as the advocacy agenda, which is a legislative roadmap for issues critical to public education. For the leadership, we elect officers for the board of directors, and then we take care of other association business like taking care of the bylaws and the governing documents. Each school board across Texas has the opportunity to select a delegate and an alternate to attend the assembly. And it was a little bit disappointing for me to get there and realize how many school districts we have in Texas and only see about 280 people there. These are critical issues that we're facing coming at us with the legislature and everything that's going on with public schools. And what I fear is that sometimes some districts aren't able to afford to go because they're smaller and things of that nature. So it was a little bit hard to see that because most of the people there are from urban areas. So they have however many people are there, that's how many people vote. And so that's where I see a lot of that focus coming from, is things like this. We don't have a good rural representation at TASB, and that was a little bit sad to see. This year, we adopted the Credentials Committee report, the 2024 Delegate Assembly meeting rules, and we elected the officers for the upcoming year. We also heard reports regarding finances and received an update on the prior year's activity. School districts across the state submitted various resolutions to be considered as priorities for the upcoming year. We reviewed them, discussed them, and voted on these resolutions. There were 56 resolutions submitted to the board. Of these, 51 were presented and recommended by the TASB board. Several had amendments and some changes, and these were all discussed. And there were 5 that were not recommended, but we reviewed them anyway. All the recommended resolutions were approved, and only 1 amendment failed. And that is my report.
Thank you for taking that responsibility and representing our district. Okay, now we move to consent agenda. Unless removed from the consent agenda, all items listed will be acted with one motion. If there is a board member who wishes to discuss an item in consent agenda separately, please indicate the agenda letter, and it will be put aside for further discussion and a separate vote. Board, any comments, any questions?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Okay.
I second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Ms. Anderson is passed. Thank you. Now discussion and action agenda. Tonight, there is no action resulting from the executive closed session discussions. Thank you for that. At this time, the board will conduct, executive closed session to discuss items posted on our agenda according to the following provision of Texas Open Meeting Act and allowed by Texas Government Code Sections 551.071, 551.074, 551.129. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as the result of discussion in closed session will take place after the board reconvenes into open session. We will be holding this executive closed session in this room. So I respectfully ask the boardroom to be cleared at this time. Thank you, and the time is 6:51. The board now in open session. And board?
President Nirman, I move that the Nacogdoches ISD Board of Trustees uphold the Level 2 decision of the Assistant Superintendent and deny the grievance appeal.
Are there any more motions?
We need a second.
All in favor?
Did a second?
Need a second.
Mr. Montoya.
Mr. Montoya, second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay. This hearing is concluded and decision has been made. And I guess we are adjourned.
I move that we adjourn.
Okay.
I second.
Okay. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. We adjourn.